This is where they would paint you with big eyes and bubbles of confusion above your head.
Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in podcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Will.
My name is Lee.
My name is Chuck.
And we're finishing up. We're here, 2019, Glass, starring James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson. Don't say a word, Lee. Chuck? You've said...
My name is Bob.
You have not seen this movie. I want it.
Nope,
I want your thoughts. I want your
I
thoughts
still have
first.
not seen this movie.
You didn't watch it?
No, I'm kidding. I watched
I'm
it.
about to say, like, great. That's awesome.
That would be a great conversation.
It would be.
So, yeah.
I'm so
what are you guys
curious.
talking about?
Remember when the thing happened at 1346?
Oh, yeah.
And then that was cool, right?
That was
I mean,
wild.
not cool.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was
And
really
and
bad.
then at 1711,
Yeah. That was bad. That was
well,
horrible.
Yeah, probably pretty bad.
I have no idea what Lee has been talking about all of this time about this movie being junk. I thoroughly enjoyed this film through and through. I don't think it's as good as Unbreakable or Split. But I enjoyed the film. I loved the premise. I love how they tied everything in. I do not think that this whole idea of this tattoo is what was being left out. And it was the MacGuffin that was to tie all the three movies in. I don't agree with that. I think that they just introduced a third character with this what's the word I'm looking for?
Cult?
Yeah, the cult. This company that they were working for. I think they are the fourth character that was being introduced.
Sure.
I enjoyed the film. I really liked it. I think it held in line, bringing Cassie back in from Split into this movie and having her be a pretty big role in the film. I thought was perfect. Finding ways to, they do this in every single superhero movie where they try to find ways to deaden their powers. Finding ways to do that, I thought was brilliant. I thought the way Samuel L. Jackson portrayed his part and what he did in the film was on point. I thought it was masterful. I think this is up there with one of M. Night's better films. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would watch it again. I wouldn't give it like an 8 or a 9 out of a 10, but a solid 7. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And yeah, I don't see the negative connotations or the negative stance that you guys have shared over the last couple of years about it.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
I really liked it. So, Lee?
So, I think I've only watched this movie once. This is my second viewing of it. So I saw it in the theater. I was pumped because Split was so good. Like, Unbreakable was good. Split was really good because James McAvoy knocked it out of the park.
So hold on. Is it McAvoy or is it McAvoy? Because it's
McAvoy.
MC.
It's
It's
McAvoy.
McAvoy.
But there's no A.
He pronounces it McAvoy, so that's what it is.
It's
McAvoy.
McAvoy.
It's okay. Listen,
McAvoy.
Listen.
how about
yeah, really.
McDonald's?
Listen.
It's McDonald's.
McDowell's.
Listening, it's McDowell's. We have the golden arcs. All right. So
They have the Big Mac. We have the
just
Big
let
Mick.
your soul glow.
They have the Big Mac. We have the Big Mac.
So I don't. Okay,
Chuck,
I
have you seen
have
that
to say
movie?
this.
Hold on.
I have to say this. Years ago, I don't get racial, but I'm going to right now. Years
Oh,
ago,
gosh.
when Lee told me that he loved this movie and he started quoting it, I was like, "What?
Why?
A white boy not only liking this movie but quoting things from Coming to America blew my
dude,
mind.
it's
when you first
Eddie
told
Murphy
me this, I
is
was
a
like,
comic
"What are
genius.
we talking about?" I'm sorry, it did. It just blew my mind. I did not expect because I think you even did the Soul Glow thing, and I was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Hold on a second here. What you like that movie?" My brain exploded. I didn't know how to take this information. But anyways, I digress.
Well, I mean, while we talk about that for a split second, I sent you a voicemail like a few days ago. Whatever. I rewatched Beverly Hills Cop 2 because it's been a long time. Like I feel like I've watched 1 and 3 a bunch, but 2 it was like when there's always that middle one, I always kind of miss and forget. Like Lethal Weapon 2.
Sure.
and-
Empire Strikes Back.
well, no, Empire Strikes Back was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm actually really excited to see Axel F.
Yeah.
I just because Coming to America wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
Like I'm actually really excited to see Axel F because even I know people pooped all over Beverly Hills Cop 3, but it was still not bad. It wasn't as good as the original 2.
Compared to 1 and 2.
But compared to 1 and 2, garbage. But compared
Yes.
to what's out there nowadays, I'm sure Axel F is going to be good. So that's why I'm excited for it. So I'm going to go ahead and watch it. But I rewatched 2 and I laughed. There was a line in there. I think Billy was driving. He's like, "So what? Are you driving with your eyes closed, or are you like using the Force or something?" It was one of the best lines. But it's just like there's some really great parts in that, and Serge is not in it, but I know he's coming back for XLF, so I'm pumped for it.
Okay.
Anyway, all that being said, I don't know how we got to Soul Glow or quotes about Beverly Hills Cop, but this movie.
What did you say? Oh, we were arguing about McAvoy.
McAvoy, okay.
And I said
And
McDowell's.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad we can all be on the same page here. So
Yes.
this whole James McAvoy totally blew Split, like the characters in Split out of the water. We see some more characters in this movie, but like as much as we've seen in the previous one, it's all about the Beast and Patricia and Dennis. Dennis seems a little bit different here.
Same.
I don't know, maybe more heavy. Like his accent seems heavier and he seems more aggressive in a sense. I don't know.
Okay.
But still, like it still falls in. Like I don't have a problem with the way that McAvoy played it. I don't have a problem with the way that Bruce Willis played David Dunn, or even the way that Samuel L. Jackson did Elijah Price. I think that all the characters played their parts perfectly as the way that they were directed to do it. How would I make this movie better? I really don't know. Looking at it now for a second viewing, I don't know. I think that like they were building up this whole superhero universe, and then they were like, I don't know where we're gonna go with this. Honestly, I don't know where Shyamalan thought he was gonna go. If he thought he was gonna make more, or end it here and just be like, let's just make it a mystery. And if that was it, if that was the end to make it a mystery, you know what? It wasn't that bad. Taking a, like a low-key superhero story, and I forgot what we actually said, like the verbatim quote.
Toned down.
Toned down, there it is. A toned-down superhero story. And, making it, like, get to a climax. Like, what is the climax for a toned-down superhero story? Do you get to the tower, or do you just like end it here in a parking lot in a puddle? Like, what do you do? And
that's not where it ended, though.
It pretty much did.
Let him go.
It pretty much did. I mean, that's where that's whatever. I'm not getting into spoilers to a point here. I'm saying that rewatching the movie, I don't know where else it could have gone, because I just can't see where else they would have gone with it to keep it in the same feel. So I will say that my opinion of this movie went up 2 points, 2 full points. From the first time I saw it in the theater with really high hopes, to seeing it now. I've got high hopes. I've got high apple pie in the sky. Yeah, okay, thanks, Goofy. I had really high hopes for this movie,
The grass
and
was
it did not.
What?
Stop it, guys. Ding, ding. All right. You guys got me with two things I love.
That is such an awesome
Pink
song.
Floyd.
I'm sorry. That
Yeah,
is
dude.
such an amazing song.
It is,
Anyways.
dude. Seeing that song live,
Yeah.
and I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't really Pink Floyd. I know it was
Australian?
Australian Pink
Yeah.
Floyd.
Australian.
My wife was bawling her eyes out when they played that song. It was
believe it.
beautiful.
I
With the
believe
guy
it.
on the slide guitar. It was like, oh, so good. Anyway, you guys pulled two things out, threw me off track with two favorite things of mine. Thanks
Did
a
you say
lot.
Australian?
Australian.
Foster's. Australian for beer.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Whatever.
What's the deal with
Every time I call up our pastor, I'm just like, hey, Foster. I leave him a voicemail.
What's the
Mr.
deal with
Foster.
kangaroos?
Oh, I found out they are deer dinosaurs, right?
What?
Yes. Yes. They are dinosaur deer.
I saw a video.
Yes. They
I
got
saw-
the tail.
I saw a video a little while ago
dinosaur
of some news piece that was happening down there, and there was this kangaroo that was like choke holding this dog, and dude just walked up and punched it in the face, and it was like, what is happening? I'm gonna.
That's
I'll
because
link
Australia
it.
is still
I'll
in
link
lockdown,
it to you.
so
I'll
the
link it
kangaroos
to you
are taking
later.
over.
I'll link it to you later.
That's
But it
'cause
was
that-
wild. I was like, what is happening? Why does the
Dude,
kangaroo
kangaroos look
have a dog in a chokehold?
That's
Dude,
because
kangaroos look like they just came out of prison. They're always like,
Yes.
that's because Australia is
it's
still
weird.
that's because Australia is still in lockdown and the kangaroos are taking over.
Oh no.
There was a big thing a little while ago where there was like massive fires happening down in Australia, and there was this one dude that just filmed the street, and it was just kangaroos because they had nowhere else to go because it's like their bush was burning, and it's like this is great, and they're all just like standing on the lawn jacked, and I'm like, this isn't real.
Imagine getting kicked by a kangaroo. I can't even imagine. Imagine just standing there and a kangaroo's like thunk. That would hurt. Oh my
So
god.
I don't
But the dude
promote dog.
the-
I don't
hang on.
promote
No,
dog
but
fighting.
the guy,
But
the
I'm
guy,
saying,
the guy
would
was trying to
anybody be
protect this.
interested in seeing kangaroos in a cage match?
No, not
just
at
saying.
all. Not at all. It looks like it would be brutal because this guy was trying to protect his dog, went up to the kangaroo, decked it in the jaw, and the kangaroo was just like, yeah, what? And I'm like, this is crazy.
That's an old one. I've seen that one.
Kangaroo
And
looks at him. Yeah.
That was nuts. The kangaroo was just like, what? And I'm like, dude. And the dude very wisely turned around and walked away. And I'm like,
Very wisely walked away as he very unwisely punched the kangaroo in the face first.
the kangaroo had its dog by the neck. And I'm just like,
I don't care.
care.
I don't care. You
so
walk
funny.
away.
It's so.
Oh, that's so bad.
Lee,
That
would you
being said,
like-
I like the movie the second time around.
The second time around.
Yeah.
okay.
No, my wife and we've talked about this before. So I saw a movie. We talked about The Dark Tower, and now I had this really horrible experience with bad like food prepared and all this stuff. It was a bad night.
Chunkies.
Yeah. The one that's now closed. Wonder why. Yeah, we had a really interesting night. It actually, what's really funny too is well, I won't even get into it because of,
High hopes.
high hopes. Didn't have a great night. We went down to Somerville. I'll just say this. We went to Somerville, went to a restaurant down there that I may or may not know on a deeper level. And the service was not great. The food was not great. The food was way too expensive. And somebody gave us a gift card, but it didn't even cover like half of it. It was like, oh, great. Then we went and saw this movie. Went and saw the movie, and the movie did not live up to expectations. So it was one of those nights where it's like, that'll take 2 points off of me watching the movie. Maybe.
Are you talking about Glass or Dark Tower?
I think he's talking about Dark Tower.
Now I'm
right
talking
now.
about Glass.
What the?
No, I'm talking about
shit.
Glass.
I thought you were talking about Dark Tower.
No. Glass was Dark Tower was the bad one. I just mentioned, like, I talked about this before, but then blah 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 blah. Here we are. Glass might have been another situation where it was like a bad experience, therefore didn't care for it because I was already in a bad mood. But maybe that might have played a part. But then, like, I was expecting. The thing is, you go to watch a Shyamalan film, you're expecting a big twist. I don't feel like there was enough of a twist here. The only twist was they're all gone. It's just us now.
That wasn't the big twist.
That was the twist.
That was
think
not the
that-
twist.
Yeah,
I
it
think-
kind of was.
I think the twist is the cult.
Yes, exactly. They're all
Okay.
gone. It's just
Sure.
us now.
That's
Okay.
not the twist either.
That is the twist. That's
No,
still
well,
the same thing I just said.
Well,
No, it's not. The
we'll
twist
get
is-
in, spoiler,
the twist is-
spoiler
Another
territory.
twist, but it's
we'll
not
get into
that
spoiler
big of a deal.
territory. We'll get into that in spoiler territory. We'll debate whether or not that's a twist later on.
Do you even know movies, Lee?
Wow. So anyways, you got anything else? Okay. I'm with Lee. I have a better appreciation for this movie my second time around, or this time watching it. I think it's because Split and this came out so close together that this disappointed so hard my first time watching it. Also, when you watch Unbreakable, it's so lo-fi. It's so it feels very, very indie. It definitely out of his first three, out of Sixth Sense, Signs, and Unbreakable, this feels the most indie. This feels very, very just
Yes.
muted and very lo-fi, and I love that about that movie. Split
It's like a
was,
toned down superhero movie.
haha. Split was McAvoy at his finest, right? And then obviously the end of Split where you have, oh my God, this done. And fine, which was perfect. Then this happened. And I just think it was a combination of bright lighting, of McAvoy having to share screen time with two incredibly well-established actors in Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis. It kind of took away from McAvoy a little bit. So that was not great. And then you get the whole, oh, they're in
So-
they're in the asylum. And then there's one scene that really sucked me out of the movie, and it's when the three of them are sitting there in a giant pink room, and it was just like, ugh. It's a bad taste in the mouth. Take all that out, though. I think this is a perfectly fine movie. I think this is a great way for him to end whatever this was that he did. Like this take that he has on the whole superhero thing. I think this was a cool way for him to end it. If he wants to pick up the cult thing later and do something, that could be interesting. I wouldn't be against it. I think it would be kind of cool if you have some other, specially abled person out there in the world and, this secret society or this cult is now after them. I would be okay with that. Yeah. The other thing that I say, and I said this when we were doing Split, as we were loosely talking about Glass, I can't judge this movie fairly because of what we know about Bruce Willis and what he was going through mentally for years. Knowing that now, going back and watching that, it does kind of show. There is some voiceover work. He's not the main. He's used very sparingly for all of those reasons, and I think it's apparent why. So I'm not gonna rate this. I can't give it a fair rating for that alone. It's not Bruce Willis at his finest, and I'm not faulting him for that at all. I actually give him a lot of credit for even attempting to finish this story the way that he did, knowing the condition that he was in. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Samuel L. Jackson in this movie, more unhinged and insane than he was in Unbreakable, arguably. The tie-in and the twist we'll get to later, I think, is ridiculous. I'm just gonna be honest about it. We'll get into whether or not it's a twist when we debate about that in spoiler territory, but I'll just say that right now, I think the whole thing is absurd and lazy on the part of M. Night Shyamalan for even attempting to tie that in together. I think there were probably more clever ways for him to actually do that than what he did. But over Sarah Paulson. Sarah Paulson
Is she
in this
human?
movie. So
Is she a human?
listen, she
Like the actress. Is she human?
where are you going with this?
I'm just wondering if she's a real person. She seems like she's Play-Doh. I don't understand. I don't know how else to put it. Like, she doesn't seem like she's a real person. It seems like she's being held up, and like everything about her is just fake.
It's really weird. It's really weird that you say that because she was a main on an FX show called American Horror Story, where each season is something different. And there was one season where she was a circus performer who was a Siamese twin. So it's really weird that you say she looks like Play-Doh because in that it kind of looked like her second head was Play-Doh. So
that's weird because I saw the first two seasons of American Horror Story.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they were really good.
Yes, they are fantastic.
And then the third season, I couldn't watch them the third season on.
What was the third season?
I think it was the circus.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I couldn't watch it at all.
Was the third season the circus?
I think I watched the first one, which was they were in the house.
Amityville Horror.
Basically.
Very much. Was the second season the witches?
Was the witches.
Okay, then
I'm
getting
one, I think,
them
was the
backwards.
circus.
Okay.
So I saw the first two and I was very intrigued. The first one was my favorite because it was Amityville mixed with like the others, basically.
Yeah.
I am your daughter.
You know, where they're there but they're not really there, and the house is.
I thought
watching.
It was
super interesting.
I stopped watching. I want to say season 5 when they replaced Jessica Lange with what's her name? Lady Gaga. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Well, I like that. I like that each season is almost an an anthology. The series is anthology.
Yeah,
where every season is something different. And I like that concept. It's just it got super weird come season 3. Like they're going along. All of a sudden they just went, we're going to go as crazy as possible. And they got crazier and weirder every season after that. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So.
No, I know what you mean. But if you even saw a glimpse of her in the circus season where she had that second head, it was like it looked like Lee said, she looked like Play-Doh, and it was so weird
right.
that he just brought that up. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
I do
as a little.
I
thing.
do want to go back.
Also,
to
she played Attorney General Marsha Clark in the American Crime Story for the OJ trial, and she pulled that off brilliantly. I really don't have a problem with her acting ability. I think she's fantastic. And I thought she was really good in this too. So go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. You know, you had mentioned that James McAvoy, acting alongside of Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson, he's not up there yet. I think because Samuel L. Jackson, his role was basically for half the film, and Bruce Willis was off camera for a good portion of it, except for the handful of times.
Yeah.
I thought James McAvoy was the centerpiece of the film. I thought he killed it. I thought he nailed it. I think they gave Samuel L. and Bruce Willis enough screen time to make them main characters, but just enough where it didn't steal away from James McAvoy.
Well, if you think about James McAvoy was playing multiple characters, so they were giving, if you look at it, it was probably all equal screen time for all the different characters.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at it that way.
I think
and no. I mean, Patricia and etc., whatever his name is, the young boy.
Hedwig
had the most, but
I think,
and they did a lot of the Beast as character too.
I think maybe to further the point that I was trying to make about that was even Samuel L. Jackson sitting in the chair catatonic, he's a presence that James McAvoy isn't. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but it's not the same as when you're watching, Samuel L. Jackson in the 90s. Him now in this film in 2019?
19.
He's old. He's obviously old.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
he's been around, but I mean, he's not what we're used to. And you're like, okay, it's Samuel L. Jackson. Like when Samuel L. Jackson did Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was
Man,
bad.
Yeah.
It was really, his acting was bad in
Bad.
that in that TV show. So you put him next to where he used to be. If you took Samuel L. Jackson in the 90s and put him in the same room as James McAvoy, I could agree with you. Samuel Jackson in the late 2015s to 20s, I don't see, he's almost kind of gone downhill. I would say that he's only still doing things because he's Samuel L. Jackson, not because he's a good actor.
I think I disagree with this. But
Name something in the last 10 years that he was good in.
Oh, I can't. I would never
Exactly.
try. I'm not trying
That's
to.
what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm talking about it's because he's Samuel L. Jackson. We're like, oh my gosh, it's Samuel L. Jackson. We're not going, oh my gosh, his acting was phenomenal. I mean, Nick Fury, obviously, I mean, they created the role originally around the personification of
Samuel Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Mhm.
So it was Samuel L. Jackson playing Samuel L. Jackson, which is
Sure.
fine. But
Besides that, the characters he's been playing, it's like if he doesn't say MF, then it's
Well.
not good. It's not worth it.
that's the thing, though.
I
is
mean, what did he?
I would actually say that James McAvoy is a better actor than Samuel L. Jackson.
How
In
about
this movie,
In anything that you put James McAvoy in next to what Samuel L. Jackson does, yes. Most things. I think James McAvoy as Tumnus the Fawn in Chronicles of Narnia. I think him as Professor X in all the X-Men movies, except for Wanted, which that movie was just bad.
see, here's
Him in Split and Glass,
here's the
all
thing
his
where-
stuff are phenomenal.
Here's the thing where we might disagree. He's an okay Professor X. He's not. Michael Fassbender is the best part of First Class. Hands
down.
He is the best part of First Class. And Days of Future Past. There's no
Yes.
question here. James McAvoy is not on that level. So I don't know that I can say that either. I wouldn't say that. In this movie,
I don't think Michael Fassbender could have pulled off this role.
the multiple personalities.
100%. Michael Fassbender is good. He's always one character, though.
Yeah. I agree
He's
with this.
always the same. And that's why I think that James McAvoy is better, because he's multifaceted. Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu in Star Wars is Samuel L. Jackson in everything else he plays. He doesn't change. He's just he is Samuel L. Jackson in Die Hard with a Vengeance. And he's the same. He
the
doesn't
same.
change. He's the same.
Okay.
I do think that he was perfect in this role, like when he's pretending to be comatose, but you see his eye twitch.
Eyes twitching.
And you see he does that. Don't get me wrong. Samuel L. Jackson is a good actor. He's not a bad actor. I just think that James McAvoy he does more stuff than Samuel L. Jackson,
I'll say he does more stuff. Fine.
which makes him, in my opinion, a better actor.
I don't know if I'm going to say he's a better
He can
actor.
do more. He can do more roles than Samuel L. Jackson could ever pull off.
I don't know if I'm going to say
The
that.
point is this: Samuel L. Jackson did not need to be in this movie.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
The-
he did.
Only for the star power.
No.
He served a
No.
purpose in this movie.
He did, but I'm
He's-
saying like
Take him out in this movie.
no,
does
no.
not work.
I'm not saying take the character out. I'm saying Samuel L. Jackson. Many people could have played this role. If we're talking about like, if we're talking about acting chops.
So you want to replace
If
it
we're
with
talking
who?
about-
Who? So what? So what do you want to do? Don Cheadle? You want to put Don Cheadle in the wheelchair?
That's my first thought.
Terrence Howard?
No, but my thought. No, the reality is this: they did not give Samuel L. Jackson a time to shine in this movie. Not in the way that he could have. He said a couple of lines that were pretty good, but most of the time he was pretending. He sat there, and his character himself did some cool stuff on a computer and was the mastermind behind it. We're talking about this movie alone.
Sure.
Are we in spoiler territory yet?
Go
No,
ahead,
'cause
Chuck.
you-
Transition us into spoiler territory so we can start talking about this
Let's
movie
get
the right
into
way.
it, please.
Go.
So for the rest of this conversation, video-wise, join us at patreon.com/blackandwhitereviews. For all of our other content, find us on Instagram and Instagram and YouTube at Black and White Reviews 1866 and on Facebook at Black and White Reviews. Like, share, comment, follow, do all the above. We want to get your input. We want to get your thoughts because we want to
We want your
grow,
money.
and make
We
things
want
better.
your money.
So for your money, come to
Please.
Patreon.
We just don't want to be paying for this. We want someone to help us pay to do this.
Please. I get
That's-
paid. I don't know what you know.
You're getting paid?
Yeah.
Wait.
So with that being said, we're going to slide right into spoiler territory.
Here we are. Oh, that's great, huh?
I done it.
I done it. So, I'm not gonna. I don't know what I'm spoiling here if I am, but the thing is, the character in this movie